I've been thinking about it for quite a while. I have been thinking about what I should buy for kind of like my next daily, because the E92 M3 is definitely not a daily. Oh my god, the Tour de France, I'm in the way. What's happening, guys and girls? Welcome back to the channel. So BMW have known for a long time that I keep eyeing up the G80 M3. I've been looking at it for ages. We've all had this conversation many times about how the E92 is just not a applicable daily car simply because of the fuel consumption and how crazy that is. But also I still have an itch for a daily vehicle. So the E92 right now is kind of, you know, she's kind of like my fun car, but I do need to think a little bit more seriously about what I'm going to drive about on the daily, because the press cars that I have at the minute are going back. The i4 M50 is going back to BMW. So they lent me this beautiful G82 M4 competition. And trust me, I actually never thought I really liked M4 simply because, you know, I thought that the rear quarters were massive, and I always liked the fact that, you know, with the M3, the hips, they sit out because the doors, they sit in, and it's all like the hipsy.
You know, it just looks good. It looks like fat. It looks good.
So I was never really a big M4 girl. It always reminded me of when I was back in Birmingham, like, you'd always see lads in an M4, like, music blaring, arms out the window, probably a mate, like, hanging out the back window as well, or, like, coming up alongside you. Whereas I don't know why, just, I feel like an M3 owner and an M4 owner are different. Discuss. Maybe this is the way I'm gonna go. Maybe it is G80 time for me. I think so. I mean, they're coming down a little bit of money now. They work out, I was like, I'm not paying 90 grand for an M3, that's mental. But now they're starting to come down a little bit because there's a few more on the market. Plus, could be mental, but I'm thinking that there's gonna be some sort of recession at the end of this year. So sometimes it's always best to sort of hold on to your money and see where everything's going. So we're not gonna make any rash decisions right now. We're gonna fix the cars that I already have, which we are doing, we're in the process of. But I think I am getting closer and closer to, you know, pulling the pin, as James would say, on a silly decision to maybe get one of these. But we're going to take this one for have a little look round. I'm going to take you for a little whip round the outside, because I'll tell you something, she is something. They decided that they were going to throw everything at it when they said, do you know what, this is going to be the M Performance carbon display car, and they launched everything at it. Although, mind you, not the carbon seats, which I think was, you know, everybody needs the carbon seats. It's all about the carbon seats. And if you get the carbon ceramic brakes and the carbon seats, that's a weight saving of 25 kg. And with these cars being over 1700 kg now, weight saving is a thing. Let's have a look at it. So this is the G82 M4 that I've been sent by BMW just to tempt my arm. And I actually think it looks beautiful. Portimao blue is such a pretty colour. I love the colour of this thing because it just pops in the sunlight. I mean, we're getting towards gold now and I've been taking some amazing photographs just on these sort of back lanes. But even when it's just sort of in situ, like, I think the car looks really aggressive. I know lots of people are going to kick off about the front grills, but I think by this point, surely everyone's over it. And once you have the car for a bit, you actually start to like it. I personally do. Once this has been lowered a little bit, you can get these Vorsteiner carbon bits for the veining here, and it looks awesome. This has obviously got all of the carbon that you can possibly throw at it from M Performance. So it's got the front splitter. It's got these little canards here, which are kind of nice. It's got the lovely, I actually love this. I think this is wicked. These side skirts coming around to the rear. This is cool. I love this. Do not know about this personally. It's not for me. I'm sure it probably tickles some people's fancy. I think it looks a little bit of like, I call it the spider's eyes. But I would go for the normal sort of quad pipes there, not this arrangement. And up here we have got the M Performance little wing, which again, I thought I really was going to not like, but I kind of like it. Although this is a magnet for people trying to race you. As soon as they see this, all gloves are off. I really, really like this as well. Just all of these little carbon bits is kind of cool. Do you know what I found out the other day as well? Do you know that there's actually some brake ventilation just through here? You can actually take a little pocket out here. So if you take your car on a track day, you can't really see it with the camera. If you take your car on a track day, you can pull these little things out to get extra cooling to your brakes, especially if you have the carbon ceramic brakes on these, which I don't think this one does. No, it doesn't. So yeah, that's quite an interesting little feature about this thing. I know these are only little, but I like these a lot. Definitely turns a lot of heads. I think if you have one of these in a colour, as I said, if you sort of put some wheels on it, space them, lower it, this car looks mint. Everybody's kind of just getting used to the grills still, and I'm like, come on, we're over it. It's been at least like, is it 2 years since these came out now? Probably. Please ignore the 2 McDonald's cuts. I need a Diet Coke and a milkshake to get me through these video shoots. Why did they not put the carbon seats in it? I was really confused when I got the car. I was like, why have they not put those in it? But as with all of the M3s and M4s, you've got all this lovely... Oh, someone's calling me. Hi, Daddy.
Hello, sweetie. You okay?
Can I call you back? I love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
So obviously it's got all the carbon on the steering wheels here and on the paddle shift. This all comes as standard, really. You've got this on the centre console and here. I would have swapped out the M Performance exhaust system for the carbon seats in here. So this is obviously the S58. It's a 3-litre twin turbo straight 6. These are just over 500 brake horsepower. Have you also seen recently that eVenturi have done these like carbon engine covers, which make all the symmetry look amazing, and you can get these new braces as well, which look sick. That would be the first sort of modification that I would do. Obviously get the eVenturi in here as well, just carbon everything. But those would be my modifications of choice. But my point is, this engine is incredibly capable. The Red Bull Drift Brothers, which are in our Drift Masters series, they are running 2 identical G82 M4s as drift cars right now. And they have the original S58 engine in them. And those engines are still running stock internals, and they're up to nearly 1,000 horsepower, if not already broken that, with the stock internals. So the actual full potential of these engines haven't been realised just yet. I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of these cars which are breaking up to 1,000 horsepower in a few years because of the things that you'll be able to do with it, which I find mad. It does make the whole of this front end very large, and when I was talking to the BMW engineers, they said all of this here is for cooling for this bad boy. That's why it's, I mean, this is a huge area all the way around the front here. I've looked at these cars before though. They kind of blow my mind because they're so much heavier than their previous generation. Now these are up to over 1,700. So there's a lot of weight going on, but the good thing about these is they drive extremely well because of the way they've been set up with their suspension and just kind of the geometry of the car and where the engine sits and the bracing. It makes for a very engaging drive. Should we go for a drive? I have to admit, after driving the i4 M50 for quite a while, it makes everything else feel, and I hate saying this word, kind of slow, just simply because the acceleration on that car is ridiculous, really. Like it's like being on an elastic band and just being like pinged. Whereas when you go back into an ICE engine car, you remember that, you know, these things are twin turbo, they've got to spool up, so you've got to give it a little bit of a chance. But as I said, I am just affected by the fact that I've been driving this i4 M50 for the last 4 months. It kind of skews your brain into thinking that all things should be that fast off the line, instantaneous torque. That's not how things work, Becky. I'd much rather have a slightly laggier time off the line than drive something which has very little sound or soul. I feel bad even saying that. So these things, they are mightily quick, way quicker than you would possibly need on the road. I mean, I always think that sort of maximum 400 horsepower is the sweet spot with these kind of cars, because once you get over 500, you're basically just breaking the speed limit all the time. But this has got plenty of poke. And the thing with these cars is also they have all the drift analyzer. You've got a 10-stage traction control in here. It's hugely capable and it's really, really fast. Now I'm thinking, actually, what I was looking for was a little bit of, dare I say it, fuel economy, especially with the way things are going, because everyone's saying, you know, our energy bills are going to be about 90 grand at the end of the year. But do you know what I mean? Like, things are costing a lot more money. Considering we were doing the calculations on the i4 versus the M4, driver assistance, it's because I'm wafting my hands around, it sets off the gesture control on these cars. The i4 M50 for the same amount of mileage if I was to run the M4 versus that. It's about £500 saving having an electric car, so you've got to really want to buy one of these because they are going to be quite expensive. But look, I mean, I just think this car, once it's got a good exhaust on it, a few little bits here and there, suspension, just lower it a little bit, a cool set of wheels. Spacing is a really big thing as well. Like, you've got to get the wheels to sit out in those arches, especially on the M3s, because even though I've had this beautiful car and I love it, I do still think that I like the usability of having the second set of doors in the rear there. But really, I'm more of an M3 girl. And as I said, I feel like you're either one or the other. I'm very lucky that I get to drive all sorts of different things, and I think that's the problem when I'm looking for new cars. I'm so desensitized to all of these things that I'm like, yeah, it's okay. You have to remember that these things are really quick cars, really capable. I mean, I've driven one of these on a track and I was actually blown away by it. I was like, what? Considering how heavy it is, you want to start getting to learn how to move that weight around. And actually the car reacts really, really nicely. I mean, I know Joe Achilles absolutely loves off these things. I went to Germany not so long ago to see the G80 touring for the very first time. I went with Goodwood. And I really, really liked that. And it's got all of the new infotainment system that the i4 M50 has. So it has the like curved screen and it's got the lovely carbon bucket seats, which I think are a must when you get these. I did really like it, and I'd be like, oh, but am I ready for an estate yet? I don't really think I want an estate. Like, everybody like loves it because it's the first like proper M3 estate, and I get it, but I just don't think I'm not in the right place in my life just yet to get an estate car. I need a nice, fast, usable, practical daily, which has a little bit of a, do you know what I mean? I just brought the car up to Cafe and Machine, and I spotted as I came into the car park this E30, which is actually in really, really good nick, beautiful little car. And I was like, how have we got from that to this over the years? That's the bit that baffles me. Like, it's genuinely come a long way from a 3 Series looking like that to a 3 Series looking like this. I don't know. Ultimately, I still think that's a better looking car, but these aren't that bad. I definitely still think I'd go for the M3 over the M4. All of the M Performance carbon bits, bar the exhaust. I definitely think. It wouldn't be for me, that isn't, after looking at it a few times now. But to be honest, it's a good looking car. I do like these as well. The wheels, all the new BMW wheels are really quite nice. You can get them you can get them in the kind of goldy colour, which I think looks really good on these. You know, like a black one with the gold bronzy wheels. It's a yes from me. So what are my thoughts? I really like them. I like them. Maybe we start looking at those. We'll see. We'll see. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I want to know what you think in the comments down below. I'm going to go now and go grab a cold drink because, oh my god, it is still beautiful and it's like 8 o'clock at night. 8? I'm lying, it's 20 to 8. It's just a small light, it's fine. Anyway, guys, catch me on the next video. I'll see you super duper soon. Take care, bye!